Good afternoon. Yes. How are you? Thank you very much for coming. And I would say, and thank you for your cooperation, first of all, for after the break we had, for coming back to join us in the crusade we are all doing to promote the issues of information communication at the Office of the President, and we can also say at the national level, because we are all stakeholders. And as usual, those of you who have been aware of this press briefing, the purpose is to share with you what the President is aware of and his directives on those issues and how we can move forward as a country. With regards to that, I will give you the issues the President has been updated on and some of his engagements we have been having here at the State House. For example, we start with agriculture. He continues to promote the policy for mechanization and partnership to share knowledge and resources, as well as to create the policy environment for private sector participation in agriculture. The ADB funded a rice value chain project in rice production, processing, and marketing. The 30 million euro project has been signed, and the focus of the project will be in the Central River region. The French government also has committed 50 million euros in fulfillment of its pledge to the NDP to increase rice production, which initially will start in the Upper River region. A technical team is already working with the Ministry of Agriculture on the implementation process. The People's Republic of China has also offered to assist the agricultural sector with technical support, machinery, and inputs to advance rice production. It could be recalled that in the past, the Chinese had been actively supporting rice production in the Jahalipachar area. President has also directed that the 54,000 bags of rice provided by the Chinese be judiciously distributed to the targeted vulnerable communities. Funds recovered from the sale of the rice donated by Japan have been deposited in a special account at the Central Bank of the Gambia as part of the government consolidated fund. Meanwhile, the government, through the GGC, facilitated for the $396 million in February 2019 for cash buying of groundnuts from farmers. The President continues to support his government's policy on value addition to agricultural products and investment in agriculture as a business venture. In the area of energy, the focus on energy improvement continues to be amongst the priorities of the government. The head of state has been informed that ongoing maintenance work is happening, and NAWEC is doing that in anticipation of the rainy season to minimize disruption of power supply. The maintenance include the Farato substation, which affects supply in parts of the West Coast region. Currently, rural electrification is going on in Kiang, in the Lower River region, and in the Upper River region of the Gambia. Meanwhile, the recently launched substation of the OMVG electricity project has been launched, as you are aware, but also work has already begun. An urban water supply project agreement has been signed with India to the tune of $22.5 million, and it's going on. On road work, Maintenance and rehabilitation projects are going on under three main projects: the National Roads Authority Project, the National Roads Authority Project and the UN Operations Project, and the Ministry of Agriculture sponsored road projects. The President has been informed that already work on a total of 280 kilometers of feeder road is being done countrywide. The briefing includes the survey for the construction of the Sankade Karantaba Road in Kiang, in the LRR, and the 80-kilometer Hakarang Road network in Nyomi. Also, he has been informed that over 95% of the Lamin-Koto Pasamas Road has been completed, and that means 109 kilometers out of the 120 has been done. Gamworks will continue will also undertake 12 new projects in the Greater Banjul area as part of the city improvement project. Banjul will have 4 of those projects in addition to the the already inaugurated project of the Banjul Road Sewage and Drainage projects, which the President did recently. On health, the government of the Gambia is funding the renovation of the infrastructure to facilitate for health to be decentralized and doctors to be decentralized in different parts of the country and make healthcare services more accessible. On education, the secondary chance education for dropouts policy for the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education has been endorsed by the President. To ensure that young people have access to skills in different parts of the country, technical and higher education facilities are being decentralized in rural areas. President Barrow endorsed the provision of centers of excellence to the youth. This is to ensure that youth have access to skills and higher education in rural areas. An extension of the Gambia College is being constructed in Basse, while the Julangil Skills Center will provide skills training for the youth in the area. These are in addition to skills training centers like the Rural Development Institute and the Gambia Technical Training Institute Annex in Mansakonko, are all part of the efforts to ensure that youths have access to skills training opportunities and empower them to effectively contribute to community outreach and service provision to boost economic and social development. These are complemented by the efforts of non-governmental and civil society groups working on the youth empowerment projects. The President continues to encourage the youth to take up different skills in the different parts of the country. He encourages them to have positive attitudes towards skills training to be able to empower themselves. Under tourism, the President was informed that the Gambia has been rated 28th position as the best tourist destination. This was also validated by the Danish ambassador who recently presented her accreditation, saying that everybody in Denmark knows the Gambia as a tourist destination, especially during the era of democracy. Efforts are on to make the country an all-year-round tourism destination, as well as diversify the tourism sector. On the trade, the Gambia has ratified the AFTA to promote fair trade and free trade among members of the continent, and to promote the value addition products across borders. The President was also has expressed concern when he was informed about the rise in the price of bread. He urged the Ministry of Trade to engage the Bakers Association on the price increase. He calls the Bakers Association to consult with the government prior to increasing the price of bread. Meanwhile, the President was also informed that enough flour is available in the country and there was no need for new price increase for the past, and there was no price increase of flour for the last year. He encourages Gambians to venture into such businesses to provide services and improve the economy through community bakeries. Under land and regional government, the president was informed that the ministry has started a land rent recovery exercise to ensure that those with leased properties pay their rents to government. Also, the lands ministry is working on a digitalization of land records for better tracking and management. The president has been informed that some of the lands under conflict have been addressed at the courts. Citizens should await the court's decision to be implemented. The president expressed appreciation to the people of Gunjur and Berending for the maturity demonstrated in handling the unfortunate incident that recently took place in Combo South in relation to land dispute. He has also been informed that the conflicts in some communities regarding the caste system in the country, the president advised that community elders to intervene to resolve it through dialogue. And he continues to advise that all should continue to work together in maintaining peace and stability in the country. On security sector, President Barrow had been provided with detailed briefing on the finalization of the proposed national security policy and strategy for the security sector reform program. He was also updated on the profiling of security officers and capacity building programs outside the country. Also, he approved the deployment of the GAMCOI 22 for a UN peacekeeping mission in Darfur, Sudan. Discussions are on for the Gambia Armed Forces to involve in sustainable social development activities such as agriculture and to expand GAP's engagement in the construction and engineering sectors. On OIC, efforts continue to be made in preparation to host the OIC summit. He has been accorded updates on the state of affairs with the construction of the International Conference Center, the urban water system, transmission and distribution. Meanwhile, Turkey is providing support in preparation for the summit with training and capacity building on security and protocol affairs. Finance and economic affairs. Almost all the grants related to the NDP pledges have been received to support the Gambia. These include existing projects managed by government and civil society organizations. The updates inform the president that concessional loans that have been approved in line with the IMF World Bank approval criteria. On foreign affairs, President Barrow had briefing that India has signed a cooperation agreement to provide support for disaster management to the tune of $1.2 million on the margins of the South-South cooperation in Argentina recently. Meanwhile, the Foreign Minister of India also provided a grant to the government to the tune of $500,000 US. He was also updated on the rationalization of foreign missions for more effective diplomatic service and in promoting the government's institutional reform agenda. Since coming to office, President Barrow has accepted the letters of credence from diplomats of 30 countries. This is in recognition of his government's commitment to respect human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. It is also to promote a non-aligned foreign policy. Meanwhile, the Kingdom of Morocco is supporting the completion of the construction of the MOFA headquarters in Banjul. On justice, the Janneh Commission has submitted its report, and it is being reviewed, and its recommendation will be given consideration. Until the President emphasizes that he's in empathy with the situation of victims of the last regime, but urges all to be patient as the TRRC does its work to ensure that all those involved receive a fair dealing in establishing the truth, as well as recommendations from the Commission. He emphasized that it is important to establish the truth and urges communities to promote reconciliation. The President urges also, said that also everyone should follow the due process of the law to strengthen the systems in our institutions. A National Human Rights Commission has been established and the criminal justice system is being sanitized. He was informed that the anti-corruption index for the Gambia improved in 2018, and he urges all citizens to work towards keeping that trend. The Prison Act that has been enacted is meant to encourage that the prison should be a correction center to reintegrate people into society. At the Office of the President, his engagements continues to be having consultations, diplomacy, and monitoring of development programs in the country to ensure that government delivers its promise of good governance, freedom, and respect for the rule of law as the country undertakes its reforms program for sustainable national development. President Barrow witnessed the signing of a 10,000 euros grant from the Federal Republic of Germany through the ECOWAS Commission in Abuja. It is for the stabilization program for countries emerging from elections to create jobs for the youth and women. Gamworks will execute this pilot project, which will focus on horticulture, poultry, and fisheries. The success of the project will provide opportunities for a sustainable program and open it to other countries in the sub-region if the Gambia succeeds with the pilot project. The President has approved Friday 15th and Monday 20th April as public holidays to mark Good Friday and Easter Monday, respectively, at the end of the Christian fasting period, Lent. Meanwhile, the President will spend the Easter break in his home village, Makamankunda, and will use the time to hold a meeting at Sare Bojo, and will also conduct a monitoring visit to the ongoing project sites in the Basse area. Thank you for your kind attention. I may now take your questions. Please kindly identify your name and the media you represent here. Thank you.
Distracting him in any way? And also in another context, how do you justify this in the context of good governance and democracy? Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. The weekends meetings he has with people from different parts of the country who come to call on him, use the opportunity to discuss the issues that affect them, cannot be seen as a distraction. However, we understand that people have their opinions on these issues, but as far as the President is concerned, he will welcome any group of people who want to call on him to be able to discuss issues that are of concern to them as citizens. As we all know, he's open up to people coming. It's just like when people call on him during office hours. But because of the number of people who will want to come, it is just impossible to accommodate them in the official space that is available. Therefore, some of these courtesy calls are arranged when they realize that communities want to come in large numbers at the State House. Yes? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Jai from the Barrow Network. I just want to ask you, the President, during the recent cabinet reshuffle, said that the reshuffle was meant to establish order in the governance system of the country. I want to know what exactly is the President talking about?
Thank you for that question. When he talks about having order, it was in the context of bringing the officials closer to focus on the agenda of the National Development Plan during the time they are in office. There are specific issues that we will not want to discuss here because it's personal, and what is important is to understand the direction is to call all cabinet members to work together in the best interest of the National Development Plan. Yes.
My name is Mohammed. I am from Foreign newspaper. What I want to raise is with regards to the land issue. We've observed over the years that there are a lot of communal land issues, and that you made mention that people should wait for the court to decide. Well, how about those communities that are really battling with land issues, and some are left homeless? So what is the government intervention towards that? Because definitely those are issues.
As far as I know, the president was briefed that the cases that have gone to the courts, people should not take the law into their own hands when the cases have already gone to court. That is what he has been briefed on. With regards to others that have not been to court, the Land Commission is also around. Let us not forget that it is available and it's not the court system for as far as the Land Commission is concerned. And they are already they have already started their work. So one will not say that those who have not gone to court should not do anything about it. No, the Lands Commission is there. They can approach the Land Commission to discuss those issues with them, and so that it can be peacefully and amicably resolved. Yes. Is it? Okay. Yeah.
I am Sally Bridger from Kepado. So my question is regarding the recent OCCRP report that was published that President Jammeh stole allegedly $1 billion from the Gambia. The Jammeh Commission, however, gave a different figure, and it's difficult to reconcile the differences. However, civil society organizations have been pushing for the president to react to these allegations. What is his position as far as this report is concerned?
Thank you for asking that. Actually, the president has been informed about the, actually it's a letter that was received, and the letter was addressed to the president, and actually he has access to that letter. He has seen it, and he has directed the Secretary General to follow up and get the source of that report so that they can look at it alongside with the Jammeh Commission report. Directive, as far as I know, up to yesterday, that directive has been given regarding that report, because he received a letter from a group that is looking at crime and corruption. Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Amie Bojang Sissoho from QTV. In your deliberation, you said almost all the pledges as far as the regional conferences have been received.
The grants. Let me clarify that. The pledges are in two parts. You have the grants, you have the loans. As far as the grants are concerned, I was given the information that almost all of them are available. It's the loan part that is yet to be received. But concessionary loans have been approved according to IMF World Bank regulations and their criteria they have set. That is the information we have here. Okay. Yeah.
All right. My name is Fafi Samba. I work for the Gambian Talents TV. Recently, Declaration 2016 is making a lot of noise. They just met yesterday and they met tomorrow again. According to the co-chair and the mother of the coalition, former Vice President Fatou Jallow Kambajan, President Barrow is in close contact with the coalition and was even supposed to open the first executive meeting. Is President Barrow still part of the coalition 2016? And the other one is, the president had a meeting with the President Barrow Farms Club in the middle of all this discussion. Is that in line with the spirit of the coalition?
Thank you very much. the first part is President Barrow part of the coalition. President Barrow is a coalition candidate. He was elected as a coalition candidate. So there is nothing else apart from being a coalition candidate and coalition president. Secondly, whether he met with Barrow Fans Club. He went out on a weekend on his own decision to say he was going to the headquarters that has been opened for the Barrow Fans Club. So there isn't much I can say about that. As far as I know, it was a weekend. He decided to go there, and that's it. He wanted to.
Okay. As I said, my name is Mohammed Faraya. Looking at the victims of April 10 and 11, 2000 massacre, most of them are struggling with health issues as well as struggling with getting livelihoods, because we understood that most of them are school dropouts, and then they don't have big opportunities to get a job.
To get a job?
Yeah, to get jobs, right, for their livelihood. So what exactly is the plans of the government to ensure that their health issue is taken care of, as well as creating opportunities?
Without being specific to the April 10th and 11th, I was informed by the president, and I think I have stated it here, that all the victims who have been part of the last regime, and it was during that time they were victimized, the opportunity that and the government's stand is, let us go through the TRRC, know what is happening, get the facts, and where there is the commission comes with its recommendation and government follows such recommendations. That is what I can tell you right now regarding victims of the last regime, whether they are 10th and 11th, whether there are other victims, because it will be difficult for me to single out and say this is specifically for this particular group of victims. All I can say is that the president emphasizes what the government stand is to go through the TRRC for now. Yes.
It's barely 8 months to go before November is here. And then November we are told that the Islamic conference should be held here.
Yes.
OIC should be held here. I don't know what is the position in terms of preparedness. Would this still hold in the Gambia?
Actually, if you listen to what I said earlier, I said the preparations are ongoing. Yeah. Up to the time I am talking to you, nobody has informed me that it's not going on. Nobody has informed me that. As far as I know, it's still on, and the efforts are being made to ensure that it is hosted, and that is why even the Turkish are supporting. They brought a team to help with the security arrangements and the protocol training programs. That's what I can. Yes, yeah.
So I just want to ask, because the weekend activities of the president were largely seen as political. It came at a time when the country was commemorating the death of someone from Sunday, whose death has contributed a lot toward the change that all of us are enjoying today. What, in your opinion, was it right for the president to be engaged in activities that are mostly political when people were celebrating or commemorating the death of someone who everybody agreed has contributed a lot in the change that everyone is enjoying today?
It's my opinion, or I am here to talk about what the president. Yes, I cannot talk on my personal opinion. I talk here on behalf of the president. And as far as that meeting is concerned, I think I have answered that question earlier.
So, also,
yes?
Yes, according to Dutsano, ABRC is not the enemy of President Adam Barrow, neither PDOIS or GDC or GMC. According to him, no political party in the Gambia is the President Barrow's enemy, but UDP. Is this statement the President Barrow's statement, does he still stands on this?
As far as I'm concerned, What Dusano says, I was not privy to, and I have not discussed it with the president to say whether that is his opinion or not. I cannot answer that question. Yes.
Okay, looking at the TRRC, we've observed that the government partially interfering by ordering arrest of some witnesses. As a government, don't you think that it's going to preempt the work of the TRRC as well, serve as a threat to witnesses coming out to say the truth?
Honestly, I have not discussed that point. So I cannot answer why it happened, and I cannot tell you anything about that as far as I'm concerned, because we have not discussed that point.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes? Yes?
So the president hasn't faced the media for close to a year now. I want to ask, is the president afraid of the press?
To answer the first part of your question, that is wrong, because he had a program with DRTS during this period, and I'm sure you have heard it. So the second part of your question, whether the president is afraid of the media, I would tell you, if the president was afraid of the media, we would not have had almost 20 one-to-one interviews with both local, regional, and international media. So your answer is no.
And Amie, but then just a follow-up.
Yes, but here.
Thank you very much. My name is Oman Bar from the Standard newspaper. First of all, I just want to know what happened to the Anti-Corruption Commission. It has been talked about from day one. But yet still, they haven't had anything about it yet.
Okay.
And we have seen recently an auditor's report, which is a government auditor's report, which was leaked. A story written on the Standard newspaper allegedly implicated the GBPA of mass irregularities and corruption. Of course, the issue of corruption has been an issue, and this government has, of course, inherited a system that has been destabilized. And of course, one would have thought this anti-corruption commission would have been among the top priorities of your government. Yet still nothing happens, and these issues are coming up. Is the government not worried, especially about this recent report that actually revealed a lot of irregularities at the GPPA and alleged massive corruption?
Thank you for that. I know that the issue of the anti-corruption commission was discussed, and it is part of the plan to have it. I've not been updated on why it has still not been on, so it will be very difficult for me to say anything about that. With regard to the information leaked to the media regarding corruption or irregularities with the GPPA, that is something the office is aware of, and they are working on it to find out what happened and how to regularize such issues. Yeah.
Yes, with the current development in the political arena, there seems to be a lot of problem. That is, there seems to be a clear indication that President Barrow is working on forming his own party. How far has he gone with that?
When it happens, I'm sure we'll call all of you to let you know. But so far, it has not happened.
Two more questions and then we are.
Yeah, so my follow-up to Lamijai's question is actually, you said the president actually had a meeting, interview with the GRTS, but then this has actually excluded other media outlets. And then this has not been the tradition. The tradition when the president came was that he had been having interface with larger media outlets. But then all of a sudden this has ceased. What actually led to this?
Yeah.
And then would we very soon see president facing the media?
To answer the first part of your question, it happened at a time. If you look at the timing, it was very tight when we did that, because we planned it to have our biannual program to meet the media. But unfortunately, it came at a time when there were a lot of activities. So the plan was, okay, just get engaged this one. And some of the media houses who we have even communicated to would have been able to witness that we even asked certain things that we were working on with them. But unfortunately, his schedule became what's it called? He had a big, busy schedule, which couldn't accommodate what we wanted to do. So far, that is what is holding us from doing what we really do. Thank you. And the last one, yes.
Okay, for Banjul, you made mention of the project that is ongoing, in which was just recently inaugurated by the president. People are left in the loop that they want to know exactly what is the contract of the what is the amount involved. Is it a loan, or basically what is the agreement?
I think that was mentioned during the president's statement, that it is a government project, and part of that government project was pre-financed by Guy Construction. And that is what I know, and that was public information as far as we are concerned.
Can I make a follow-up to that?
Yes.
Yeah, so what I have heard is that the president is not in good terms with the mayor of Banjul.
Which mayor of Banjul?
The mayor of Banjul.
The president is not in good terms with the mayor of
Banjul.
Banjul.
In talking mode with the president, with the mayor of Banjul. This is what I heard. Is it?
Anyway, that's news to me. And on that note, I will just say thank you for the time, but I will really tell you that that's strange and news to me. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you for engaging. And I look forward to continue we want to continue to maintain our biannual media briefing. The reason we had a break was we had these internal changes in our staffing and everything, and it affected the whole process for us to continue to do it. But I have been given reassurance that we will continue the biannual meeting so that people will get the information as far as the Office of the President is concerned, to be able to keep people informed and aware of what the President is aware of and what he is engaged in. Thank you very much for your time.